Hey everybody, I want to talk a little bit today about this really cool exercise that I share with clients and students that really help when they feel like they are kind of drawing a blank and that their creative well has gone dry. And this works best for fiction writers, okay? So it uses the concept of amalgamation. And so what's amalgamation? Well, it is the practice of conflating real life and imagination. And so a lot of writers do this. Some do it unwittingly. They don't purposefully write about people from their lives, but then they realize after the fact, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so and that's so-and-so, right? And so sometimes this happens in our very deep subconscious and we're not aware of it until later. Other writers do it very intentionally. So we all draw from what we know, right? So places we know of. For example, I've lived in Illinois and Colorado. I now live in Oregon. And so oftentimes those places show up in my writing because I know the terrain. I know how to describe those things well because it's kind of embedded in me from living in those spaces, right? So we can do this, like I said, very intentionally or unwittingly. So what I have to share with you with this exercise, and this is an exercise that virtually you can use forever because you will always be able to add to it and draw from it. So what it is basically is you're making lists, okay? So you're making a list, 3 lists of imaginary people, places, and things, and 3 lists of real life people, places, and things. So you'll have 6 lists in the end. I always recommend starting with at least 10 things on each list so that you have a lot of things to draw from, because I'll tell you how to use them after I explain this a little bit more. So your first list, say you work on your real life list first. So people, a list of at least 10 people that you know, list of at least 10 places that you know. And these can be anything from like the town where you live or where you used to live. Your home can be a room in your home. It can be a coffee shop that you frequent often. It can be a movie theater that you go to a lot, all right? So people, places that you know personally. And then the last one on the real life list of lists is situations. All right, so situations you've been in. Say a wedding you went to, maybe your own wedding, a friend's wedding, family member's wedding. It could be if you've ever been fired, first day of starting a new job, birthday party, right? So any of those things that you have experienced firsthand can go on that list. All right? So then let's talk about the imaginary list. We want to do the same thing. So I want you to list at least 10 people on this first list. So how do you do this if it's imaginary? Well, you can approach this in a couple of ways. You might start with names that stand out to you and just make a list of names and leave it at that. And let that percolate, and then a person will materialize organically in your creative mind, right? You can also describe for yourself their physical appearance, okay? So easy ways to do that is what they look like, and you can think tall, short, thin, stocky, whatever. Age, so physical appearance, age, and gender, okay? Male, female, non-binary, transgender, any of those. So when you start assigning these qualities, this character then will start to come alive in your mind, okay? So that's the imaginary people list. Next is the imaginary place list. Well, how do you do that? So I mentioned coffee shop on the real life list, maybe one that you frequent. Well, you could also put coffee shop on your imaginary list, but not one that you know of. Make this one up in your mind. Imagine what it looks like inside. Think about details, not when you're making the list, but when you start to write. So you might list a coffee shop, a movie theater. You might list an imaginary universe, okay? So this can go in a number of ways. These can be things that exist in the world, like coffee shops, movie theaters, workplaces of any kind, office spaces, that you will make up as you write your story, or these can be imaginary places that do not really exist anywhere, okay? So hopefully that's clear. And then the third one is your list of imaginary situations, okay? So again, you could draw from things that we all have experienced, whether it's weddings, first day of the job, first day of school, being fired, going on vacation. So it can be these things, but they are situations that you will make up. Or you can be a little more elaborate with those and say, a person goes on a walk and discovers a bag of money. All right? That's an imaginary situation. Unless that's happened to you. If it has, I'd love to know what you did with the money. All right? So hopefully this makes sense, that how you create these real life lists of people, places, and situations, and this imaginary list of people, places, and situations. Then what you do with is you mix and match them. So you might draw one place from your real life list and then draw a person and a situation from your imaginary list. Or maybe you just draw one from each and go from there. And when you keep creating items on these lists and you mix and match them, like I said, your possibilities are virtually endless, okay? It's a really cool exercise. It works really well. It's worked well for my students and clients. So give it a try. I hope you get a lot from it, all right? And as always, I'm sending you mad writing mojo. Happy writing.